In this video, I'm going to be reviewing Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Now, this game just came out on the market, and I recently had about 7 hours to spend with this game, and I think that's long enough for a racing style game like this. So let's talk about everything Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. So if you're unfamiliar with Crash Team Racing was originally a game back in the 90s. It pretty much was in the Crash Bandicoot style of games, and this one is pretty much just a clone of like Mario Kart or any other kart racer you may have played in your life when it comes to video games. So that's pretty much what you're dealing with when you're dealing with Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is pretty much a remake of the 90s Crash Team Racing game, and if you played Mario Kart and if you played other games in the realm of Mario Kart, then you'll be very familiar with what Crash Team Racing actually has to bring to the market. Before I actually start my full review and try to talk about every aspect of this game, let's actually talk about performance, because the one that you're about to see on camera is going to be the Nintendo Switch version of Crash Team Racing. And I actually want to talk about the performance here because, as you guys know, when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, a lot of times with Nintendo Switch versions of third-party games, you do get a much more gimped version of a game just because graphics have to be scaled down, frame rates have to be scaled down. But of course, that does make sense since the Nintendo Switch obviously is less powerful than a base PS4 or even a base Xbox One. So of course, things are going to look slightly worse. So how does it look on the Nintendo Switch? And if you're a Nintendo Switch owner and you're trying to choose from like a PS4 version or an Xbox One version of this game, what platform should you buy it on? Let's start with the Nintendo Switch, since I mostly been playing the Nintendo Switch version of this game. Now, when it comes to performance of this game and when it comes to visuality of this game, right off the bat, you can definitely notice that this game definitely takes a hit in the graphic department. But of course, that's to be expected with Nintendo Switch. Like I said again, the Nintendo Switch is not as powerful as the other consoles on the market. So of course, the Nintendo Switch version of this game is going to be slightly worse. I think what we're talking about here, I cannot 100% confirm this, but to my eye and from what I've been seeing on the internet, it looks like this game only plays at a resolution of 720p on the Nintendo Switch, at least in the dock. So I want to make that clear, 720p in the dock, at least to my eyes. I might be 100% wrong about this, but to my eyes, it definitely looks like 720p, because if you compare this to things like the PS4 version and the Xbox One version, they definitely look, I wouldn't say miles better, but they definitely do look better, and you can definitely notice the difference if you put them side by side. Now, when I first booted up CTR Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled on the Nintendo Switch, I actually didn't know what to expect when it comes to the performance, and right off the bat, I did actually notice how ugly this game is. And I played quite a few third-party games on the Nintendo Switch, and I can personally tell you this is one of the more weaker ones, at least when it comes to performance and at least when it comes to the visuals of the game. The visuals of the game are really scaled back, and with a game like CTR, you really want the best performance or the best graphical fidelity you can actually get out of a game like this. So honestly, it did kind of disappoint me. But the more I started playing this game and the longer I started playing this game, I didn't even notice the limitations of this game. I didn't realize this game was 720p. It kind of had like a smearing effect on the whole visual aspect of this game compared to the other ones. But with what the company really did with this game, honestly, if you ask me personally, I know it's personal preference. Do you want to take your games on the go? That is a benefit of the Nintendo Switch. How much do graphics actually bother you at the end of the day? Do you not mind it? Whatever the case may be. Honestly, if you ask me, with a game like CTR, I really would recommend buying it on the PS4 or the Xbox One, because you'd be doing yourself kind of a disservice to play on the Nintendo Switch. I don't want to sound like the Nintendo Switch version of this game is absolute crap. It's definitely not absolute crap, but you can definitely tell this one is scaled down, and with all the other third-party games I played, I'm slightly disappointed, and my eyes personally can definitely notice the difference between the Nintendo Switch version and the other versions of the game, at least when it comes to graphical fidelity. You can see that there's like a smearing on the screen. Some of the textures don't look good. Overall, this game doesn't look that good on the Nintendo Switch, so just be expecting a game that's not going to look that good on the Nintendo Switch. And even compared to some other third-party games on the Nintendo Switch, just know what to expect in that area, so keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to the performance of the game on the Nintendo Switch, at least in my experience, keep this in mind. I've had 7 hours of gameplay now in this game as far as I'm aware, and what I can say wholeheartedly is the fact that I've had no performance issues, so that's very good when it comes to the frame rate. I'm not 100% sure if the frame rate on the Nintendo Switch is 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, but I'm telling you guys right now, it does not matter if it's 30 or 60, because whatever frame rate it's running at, it is buttery smooth, and I've had no problems, so you won't have problems with that, and you won't even be able to tell if it's 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. I don't know what the other versions actually run at, but for the Switch, you're going to be 100% okay. The biggest downside to the Switch is going to be the graphics fidelity. Some people were actually keep saying that this game actually plays like a PS2 game, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's that bad of a game, so pick your poison. Now let's actually talk about the actual gameplay and what do I think of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, because this was one of the biggest games for me this year, believe it or not. I grew up with Crash. The Crash series, I grew up with Crash Team Racing. Overall, I'm a big fan of this game specifically. What do I think of this game? Overall, I would give this a very good score, not beating around the bush. I would definitely easily give this game maybe an 8 or an 8.5, possibly a 9 with how much fun I'm actually playing this game. Of course, outsiders who never played Crash Team Racing might think this game is a clear ripoff of the Mario Kart series or some other kart racers on the market, but there is some stuff that is generally different in Crash Team Racing that you can't actually get in some other kart racers on the market. Let's talk about one thing this kart racer actually does well compared to any other kart racer on the market. The one nice thing Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled actually has is a full-blown story mode, which not a lot of racing games and not a lot of kart games, to be specific, actually have a full-blown adventure mode or a story mode in the game. So that's very nice. It does have a full-blown single-player campaign you can actually play through. You're pretty much dropped on a map, and inside this map you just go from location to location and play these different races. And it's not just about the racing in the story mode. You can do a lot of different things, like you can do time trials. You can also collect these things called CTR tokens in the race, and then after 4 or 5 races you face a boss, and the end goal is to face this guy called Nitro Oxide, and that's really your whole goal with that, trying to beat this guy. You pretty much just drop down on the surface of the Crash Bandicoot island or whatever the universe is, and he's trying to compete with all the best racers in the world. So the story is pretty generic, but I do really like the story mode in Crash Team Racing, and it actually gives it an edge for me personally over a Mario Kart, which, you know, Mario Kart is an absolutely fantastic game, but it lacks in content compared to what CTR already offers. Just going by the story mode alone, that's already a +1 in favor of Crash Team Nitro Fueled compared to Mario Kart, where you're either playing the boring Grand Prix where you just play 4 races in a row and you gain a trophy or a star rating or whatever the case may be, and then you call it a day, or you can play online or play locally. That's what this has going for it, and I actually do like this mode in the game. Now, when it comes to this mode in the game compared to the original story mode or the original adventure mode back on CTR, back on the PS1, it does actually have some minor differences compared to the original one. For instance, one, you can now play it to where you can change characters on the fly in story mode, which was definitely not a thing in the original CTR. So if you want to change characters on the go, you can change characters on the go that way. And they also gave you a difficulty switch now. And let me tell you, the one big problem with CTR, now that we're on the story mode or the adventure mode of CTR Nitro Fueled, the one big problem I actually have with this game, and it's not just me talking about this, it's a lot of different gamers right now talking about this issue, is the fact that if you play this game, you might have to even put on easy. They have 3 different difficulty modes. They have easy, medium, and hard, and let me tell you right now, this game is really, really hard. This may look like a kid's game from an outsider standpoint, or this may look like a Mario Kart ripoff, but this game is no joke. I think the item balancing in this game is just flat out hard. The CPUs have a lot of rubber banding. If you're used to playing racing games, then you may understand what rubber banding is. Rubber banding is pretty much where AI will catch up to you no matter what, and we clearly know that is cheating. So there's a lot of rubber banding going on. There's also a lot of item balances in this game that make this game flat out extremely hard. Can you still beat this game? Yeah, and it's not as hard as I'm putting on, but you will be stuck on certain races for many hours, or at least many minutes. It's ridiculous how hard this game is, and like I said, a lot of people are actually complaining about how difficult this game is. And to make things worse, when you're playing story mode or the adventure mode in CTR, just take note that you are going to have to finish every single single race in first place. There's no but about it. So you can't get second place. You can't get third place. If you don't rank first, you're not moving on. And that's what makes this game so difficult. But I am thankful for the developer for actually making a difficulty switch from easy, medium, hard, because I'm pretty sure if they only had one difficulty in this game, we would pretty much be all out of luck. So props to the developer for realizing this game is just way too hard. But hey, then again, I guess I am happy that this game is brutally hard, because even though this game is brutally hard, you do have to realize that the campaign for this game, or the story mode, is very short. I think you can beat this in like 4 or 5 hours. So if they made it too easy, you'd probably be able to beat this in even like 2 or 3 hours minimum. So it's not that long at all. So it is very good that they do have a difficulty switch if you do want that challenge. And now let's actually talk about the racing itself. How does it feel to race on the track? How does it feel compared to Mario Kart? How does it feel? Because this racer actually does feel different than something like a Mario Kart or something like a Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing. There is a difference, and overall I do like the way that the actual core mechanics of the racing is actually in this game. I actually find it very satisfying. I also love the fact that everything in the game is it just feels right. I will have to admit something right off the bat. When it comes to the core mechanics of the actual racing, I will admit racing with the actual race cars, racing with the characters and everything like that, when you're actually racing, it does feel kind of floaty. I want to make that clear. It's not as solid as something like a Mario Kart, but I don't want you thinking that it's not a reason not to play this game or just disregard that, because I personally like the way it feels. I think the floatiness of it. I also like the drifting, because the drifting is something that really makes this kart racer stand out from every other kart racer on the market. Basically, you have to start a drift, and then once you start a drift, it pretty much works like Mario Kart. You hop, and then once you start sliding with your cart, you pretty much have to press up. You pretty much have a bar, and the bar starts filling up as you're sliding. And as you're sliding, you want to press the power button or the boost button, and you have up to 3 different boosts you can toggle. And honestly, for me personally, that is very satisfying in the game. And then talking about the power-ups of the game, are these power-ups better than something like a Mario Kart? Honestly, for me, I would say, I want to be honest with you guys, I don't necessarily think that they are better than something like Mario Kart. A lot of these aren't as fun to play with. They don't have as much but one thing I do like about this game that is super satisfying, even though some of these abilities may not be as good as something like a top tier Mario Kart, is the fact that every single hit in this game is flat out amazing. I love the way the way it feels when you actually hit somebody. When you hit somebody in this game, it just feels super satisfying. You really do get a sense of blowing them up. You really do get a sense of you destroyed them. So that's something very satisfying about this game. So it does kind of make up that some of the items in this game are kind of lackluster. Honestly, to me, I don't remember this game having this amount of power-ups. I thought this game had slightly more power-ups, because for me personally, I feel like this game doesn't have a lot of item selection. I feel like this game definitely needs more item selection. That's just me. But then again, there are 11 items in the game to play with, and I'm pretty sure Mario Kart probably has the equivalent when it comes to that. But yes, how does it feel when you're actually racing on the track? A lot of people have been saying that the racing feels pretty fast. Honestly, for me, I think it's a good sense of speed when you're actually on the track, because the whole thing about a racing game, you really want to feel like you're going pretty fast. And if you feel like you're going in molasses, or you feel like you're going pretty slow in mud, it wouldn't be fun to play. But I can definitely tell you, this game definitely has a sense of speed. Is it the fastest racer on the market? No, it's definitely not the fastest racer on the market, but from what I'm playing, I definitely love the sense of speed with this game. And now let's talk about all the little visual stuff that they've added to this game, because this is a game that I really do feel like if Naughty Dog was producing it today, which Naughty Dog did not make this remake, which they did make the 3 Crash Bandicoot games back in the 90s and Crash Team Racing before they gave the whole franchise over to another developer. This is what I would envision Naughty Dog actually doing for a Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel. And I think Beanox, the company behind this remake, really did an outstanding job of making this game really feel amazing, really feeling like you're engaged with the tracks. The tracks look beautiful, the tracks look luscious. I like all the little animations they add to all these characters. These characters really pop, these characters really feel alive. This game really does have charm and really does have its own characteristics. That's why I really love this game, and that's also why back at the beginning of the video I really said, and I really do take this to heart, I really think that if you only have one console and you're trying to get get the best experience out of this game, since they went to so much work to making this game really feel like a brand new game, I would really suggest not buying this on the Nintendo Switch and buying it on PS4. Even if you have the base PS4, PS4 Slim, or the Xbox One, or the Xbox One S, and not the X, you're still doing yourself a much bigger service unless you have to take your games on the go. That's where the Nintendo Switch comes in play, and that's where I think you'll get a lot of value from the Nintendo Switch version, playing the Nintendo Switch version on the go. But yes, overall, they did a flat-out fantastic job adding all these little subtle things that obviously couldn't be in the 90s version of Crash Team Racing, just due to the fact that the power of the PS1 was not that powerful. So of course, Naughty Dog physically couldn't put all these little subtle things in this game. So many tracks that you may have played before, if you ever played the original, has so much new stuff going on in the game. There's so much background stuff. There's so much just new stuff in the game that your eyes are definitely going to be mind blown, and you're definitely going to have you're definitely going to be like blown away by how much stuff they've actually added in this game when it comes to the visual department. Let's talk about one area they actually added some brand new stuff. Now in the original game, you have your normal racers and then you have your normal karts, but in this game they took it a little bit, they took it an extra step. And what do I mean by an extra step? They actually gave us more customization when it comes to the characters, when it comes to the cars. Now you can actually have different bodies in this game. You can also have different wheels. You can also have decals. You can also have skins on your character. So this thing really is amazing for that. If you're a person that really loves customizing your car, customizing your character and things like that, and especially if you want to play online and you want to stand out from the crowd, you can do all that in this game. And there's a lot to unlock in this game. I forgot to tell you, if you're trying to do 100% on the story mode, there's a lot to unlock. If you're trying to unlock all the skins, unlock all the cards, unlock all the characters, everything, it's going to take you a very long time to unlock everything in the game. There's also a thing called the pit stop in the game, and basically what the pit stop in the game is where you unlock other stuff in the game. And when you first boot up pit stop in this game, you may be thinking to yourself, doesn't that look like it's going to be micro-transaction-y? Because the way this store is when it comes to the pit stop, it really does look like this game is going to be micro-transaction world and it's going to ruin the experience. But no, as far as I'm aware, the developer has no plan to give this game micro-transactions. Basically how the pit stop works is you get skins, you get characters, you get cards, you get everything for everything in the game pretty much. But basically it works off of these coins. I don't know what these coins are called because they weren't obviously in the 90s version of the game, but you get these cards as you're completing races, as you're just racing and things like that. You get pretty much these coins everywhere you go, and you can't buy them with real money, so that's very good. And then once you get all these coins, then you go ahead and then you actually buy everything in the pit stop. But that does make me worry down the line. Are they going to make it to where you can buy these coins outright with real money? Can you buy these things outright with real money, like the skins and everything like that? And that is a very scary world that we live in, that microtransactions are ruining games. But then again, you do have to take in consideration this game is only a $40 release and not a $60 release at launch. But then keep in mind, they do have a $59.99 variant of this game compared to the $40, and I can flat out tell you the difference. Apparently everywhere I've seen on the internet, people comparing this game, the $40 version to the $60 version, and yes, every platform, including the Switch, does have the $60 version. I can flat out pretty much safely say that when you pay $60, you're just paying for the game to automatically have all the characters flat out unlocked, and that's stupid because you can unlock those yourself. So don't waste your $20. Same thing with the skins. They try to bait you in trying to buy all these different skins. You're saying you get skins, you get characters unlocked, but everything you're spending that extra $20 for the $60 version, you are going to be getting in the game for the $40 version. So please do not buy the $60 version of Crash Team Racing. You will be getting ripped off. Some of you may be thinking, don't you get DLC for that money? No, they do have plans to release new tracks, new cars down the road, but they have already said that everything this game gets according to DLC, and when it comes to DLC, is going to be free when it comes to Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel. So keep that in mind. One thing I do have to say about this game really quickly is I don't actually also like the way that the actual controls are in this game. I think they really screwed up the controls in this game. Basically, B's to accelerate standardly, at least I'm talking about the Switch version. I'm assuming it's the same on every other platform. B's to accelerate, that may seem fine and all, but here's the real problem. Drifting, and here's the real killer. The real killer is you do have to throw items with A, and since your B button and your A button are so close, it's just very weird to actually throw throw items in this game. So thankfully the developer behind this game did realize that, and they actually gave us another alternative control scheme. Unfortunately, you can't customize your control scheme in this game. You only have two options, but you can't manually set every button to your liking. You have two control schemes. Honestly, for me, I would recommend setting it to the other scheme, so it's much more easier to throw power-ups, because basically it basically changes the way you accelerate. Instead of holding the B button to accelerate on Switch, you hold the one of the triggers on the back, and then you press A to actually throw items. And honestly, for me, that's miles better. And especially if you're in handheld mode, you know that's very complicated, because the B button, or the button right next to the right analog stick in handheld mode, is too close, and then you still have to press A. It's just absolute garbage in handheld mode. So I highly recommend changing the control scheme in this game. And then last but not least, let's actually talk about the online function, because they did add online functionality to this game, and that's the biggest thing I want you guys to know about when it comes to this game. How does the online actually play? And I can tell you right now, I played the online for just an hour at max. Most of my 7 hours with this game already have been with the story mode, and have been with the other modes in this game. And what I can say with this game is the online is working perfectly, at least at the time I was playing it. But a lot of people out there, I want to make this clear, a lot of people out there have been saying that their experience has been very bad online. It's been buggy, it's been glitchy, they can't get into lobbies. So I honestly do not know what's going on with the online functionality when it comes to Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. It really looks like the developer behind Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled definitely screwed up when it comes to the online. I'm assuming they're going to patch it, or they're going to fix it. I don't know if it's because the servers can't handle too many people online at once. The network is just not capable, or maybe their servers are busted. I don't know what the case is, but most likely they will fix this in the future. So if you do run into problems, just know the problems are there. But I don't think the problems of the online should be the reason you don't buy this game. I think because there's a story mode, there's other things to do in the game, it definitely makes up, even if the online functionality is broken at the current moment. Again, I don't know when they're going to fix it, and if you're even going to run into problems. It may just be on a person-to-person basis, so I don't really know. But like I said, at the time I was playing it, I played it for an hour, and I had no problems online. I didn't have anybody glitching, I didn't have stuttering, lag, disconnections at all. I had no problems. But then again, I played it 1 hour when the game first released, so I don't even know what's up with that. And then finally, I want to say this as well. This is not just a remake of CTR, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, or Crash Team Racing back from the 90s. It's actually adding all of the content from other Crash racing games, because if you didn't know this, there is 2 more Crash racing games. There's Crash Team Racing something, I do know, on the PS2, then there's Crash Team something else, but I do know for a fact, or anyway, there is 2 more Crash games, because I played them in my life. They're not as great as Crash Team Racing back on the PS1. That's the only one that matters. And if anyone tells you, oh, those ones were fine, no. Everyone admits the first one on the PS1 was the one to get, and that's the one, and that's the only Crash racing game that you ever need to play in your life. And what I can say is the nice thing with this game is they did actually add all the racetracks and some of the characters from both the other Crash racing games. Unfortunately, you won't find any of that in the story mode of this game, at least the new tracks. If you want to play some of those tracks that are either brand new, I think they added some brand new ones as well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do know they took a whole bunch of tracks from the other 2 games and put them in this game. You will have to play like the regular racing mode, not the adventure mode, or not the campaign of the game. You will have to play that. That's when you'll actually be able to play all those different race tracks that are from other versions of other Crash racing games. And if you play online, luckily with the online functionality of this game, you will be able to play with those tracks, the tracks that were carried over from the other 2 Crash games. So I'm very happy about that, and I'm very glad they actually did that. One thing I don't like about the online, moving back to the online really quickly, specifically the online, I don't really like the way the lobby is handled. The lobby does really seem like it was built really poorly. I'm not a fan of it. Definitely if you compare it to Mario Kart stomps all over this when it comes to the lobby system, when it comes to choosing your tracks, everything like that. I definitely love the lobby. This game is flat out amazing. This game is flat out luscious. Overall, you're definitely getting your $40 worth when you pick up this game, and I highly recommend you pick up this game if you're a fan of racing games, or if you're a fan of kart style racing games, or maybe you're a fan of Crash Bandicoot, then you may want to pick this up. Or if you like games that are very kid-friendly and things like that, just note when you're going into this game is a very hard game. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News. Signing out.